Welcome to Family Business World. I'm your host, Dr. Dale Caldwell. Honored to have another amazing guest, Kyle Eisele, who is here from Coast Tile and Marble Supply. And Kyle, welcome.
Thank you very much, Dale. I appreciate it.
I'm really looking forward to this conversation because in addition to being part of a family business, you are a family business major. I'm actually teaching the family business management course at Fairleigh Dickinson University, and I run the Entrepreneurial Institute. So we have a lot to talk about when it comes to family businesses. But I want to begin, as I always do, about the history. So tell me a little bit about the history of your family and the family business.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's almost where do you start? It goes back to generation 4 is what I would be in the tile industry. Okay. My great-grandfather was a tile setter. My grandfather had worked with his brothers underneath him, and eventually my grandfather decided that he wanted to go out on his own. So he started doing tile installs himself, and eventually he got a deal with what was at the time called Wenzel Tile. Okay. They're no longer around anymore, but that was his first opportunity to really move into the retail market. Okay. And like a true entrepreneur, he started right in his garage.
Wow. Yeah. And I think we have a few pictures to really, I'd love for you to talk us through some of the pictures of your family business.
Yeah, so this is a classic one, of course, and I'm sure my uncle and my fathers, my father and uncles will be very upset that I chose this photo, but this is them way back when we actually first started out of the garage. That's my Uncle Tom at the very top. He was very involved at the time, my Uncle John as well, and eventually they all started to move into the business slowly. But that's a great photo that just shows how long we've been together.
That was before you.
That's way before me. Yeah, photos look a little better now.
Now what's this?
So this truck was actually my grandfather's first truck once he started moving into the retail. So fun fact, originally it was called Bayshore Tile before Coast Tile. He actually hand painted that truck himself.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, he was very proud of his work, and he always had a huge attention to detail and always wanted everything to be perfect. And you'll see that translated through the generations as well.
Wonderful.
So this one's a unique one because that's actually my grandfather sitting on his father's truck.
Oh my goodness.
So that's a very old photo, but you'll see Joe H. Eisele's tile. That was way back, but tile stayed in the family for a very long time.
Do you have any sense what year that was?
Oh gosh, I probably wouldn't be able to. In like the 40s.
Nice.
Yeah. That one's one of our newer. It was one of our newer trucks, so it got retired in the recent years. But that's my uncle driving it there. So you see that the logo stayed pretty similar. The lighthouse is one of our staples that we love. Emphasizes the shore. It's always stuck with us.
Wonderful.
So that's a great one. And then this is all of us today. We are up to about 24 of us in the Eiseles. Queen Bee standing right in the middle. My grandmother, she's really in charge of everything. And then my dad, my uncles, my aunts, everyone that was also on a vacation together. So,
well, the pride, what I love is just the pride of families and family businesses. And people don't understand. This is America. This is what made America. This is more than 60% of the employees and the businesses and the gross domestic product. And so, now tell me a little bit about you and your background. You're a dynamic guy, a young guy. So how did you get involved in all this stuff?
Well, I mean, it started at a little bit more, obviously, in family businesses, you'll find that we all work at a young age in the family business. You can never get enough hands, obviously. So I grew up working at the shop, sweeping the warehouses, helping the guys out there loading tile, picking out the different things, eventually moving into the sales floor and all that during my summers, because I studied at St. Joseph's University, like you said. I majored in marketing and family business and entrepreneurship. Incredible experience going there, learning that, meeting all these different people and studying family business. And in studying family business is when I really learned that I was like, this is really what I want to do. It's a great opportunity. I mean, it's so much fun every day. I mean, it has its ups and downs, like every family business. Right. But it's so much fun every day to just come in and work with your family. The jokes are funnier. It's a little more relaxed.
So now while you were in school, you actually did consulting to family business. Part of St. Joseph's, a real big family business program. And so what did you learn as you consulted to other family businesses?
So I worked with the Initiative for Family Business Entrepreneurship at St. Joseph's University, who helps other family businesses. A lot of times they would come in and they would speak to our classes, or when I was in meetings with the department, they would speak. And you get to see the whole spectrum of things. I mean, a lot of it boils down to communication issues. You'd have a lot of what we saw, ironically, was Generation 2 wanting out. And it was Generation 3 who was like, all right, how are we going to move into this? But Generation 2 didn't want to give up what they worked for, and it is something that, and I have 2 companies of my own, and I can't imagine just being like, here, take this and run with it. because you put so many hours into it, and it's it's your baby for so long, that we learned through the consulting is really just navigating those conversations and how to properly be clear and transparent with what your intentions are for your generation, and then how you see the business going forward with the future generation and all of that. So the consulting, I mean, it was such an opportunity for us to see the dynamics that you see in all family businesses.
Right.
So,
and again, I've been in management consulting for 20 years. I run the Fairleigh Dickinson University Entrepreneurship Institute, Rothman Institute, and as I said, teaching this family business management class. But communication is the fundamental. Every single problem boils down to a communication problem.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if it's financial or operational and so on. And the other thing is, I wrote this book on influence, and the influence and baggage sometimes creeps into it with the family, and we don't want to expose all the baggage. But again, and so you have things that happen when you were younger that still permeate into the business.
Right. Yeah.
And so as you think about it, now tell me about the business. So what do you guys do? What does your family do? And
right. Yeah. So we're Coast Tile and Marble Supply. So we are one of the larger retailers in South Jersey that specializes in tile, marble, stone, luxury vinyl tiles, and various mosaics as well. We deal with some small commercial work, but mostly residential on the shoreline. So we specialize specifically in like shore home designing. So like those larger beachfront homes has typically been where we've been kind of moving our way into. It's a unique market. Obviously, there's been so much construction and development on the shoreline that's really where we've kind of found our home in. So we do with the designing, the consulting on other aspects of the projects, and all that.
Kitchen, bedroom, every aspect of the house, you do it all.
You wouldn't believe the different things that some people, we do bar tops, cabanas, pool areas, mostly kitchens and baths and all those traditional things. But yeah, some people come in with unique projects, and we always can find a way to help them out.
I'm always fascinated with those shows that, what was it, tanks, they do the fish tanks unique, and then I'm sure you've seen, some things that are pretty extraordinary.
Oh, absolutely. You'll see people come in and they'll put together this crazy combination where at first you're like, what are they doing? And then by the time you see the finished product, you're blown away.
Right.
So they're really some unique opportunities to use tile mosaics and different looks to create something beautiful.
And so now your role in the company, now you do marketing, what kinds of things do you work on?
It's very important in my family that everyone does everything as one of the family members. So I'll help out in the warehouse anytime that there's need about back there, checking in orders, breaking down trucks, anything like that. I'll work on the sales floor, helping other people pick out their tile, make their selections. And then I do a lot with the marketing end. I consult with our marketing firm on a lot of different aspects and trying to grow, because this is really the year that we want to try and take the next step. Our generation is really excited and looking forward to the future. We think the market's in good shape right now for us to try and take that next leap. So I work a lot in the business development of that as well.
Well, and again, as talking to my audience, I've learned a lot on this show, and one of the things that's clear is that the firms, now you're fourth generation?
Fourth generation industry, third generation at Coast Tile.
And so what we've learned is that when the next generation is treated just like every other employee, where they learn that they don't have special privileges, they got to work, they got to know the business, that's when the succession works. I've seen so many times when there's privilege, and the young people think, well, I don't have to do that. I'm the son of the owner. I'm the daughter of the owner. And it doesn't seem to last. So those who are listening, make sure that everyone is treated. And I know some instances you've seen on my show, some people were paid less than some of the other folks. But they knew that work and work ethic, and frankly, Kyle, I'll be very honest, I'm on a couple school boards, young people don't value work as much as they should. And really appreciate doing quality work.
Right.
And I'm sure, when you're hiring, how do you hire? You have to hire good people, and I'm sure you've had your challenges. How do you go about hiring people for the business?
It's a great question. And you read it all the time. One of the most important things when you're looking to grow is having the right people on the ship before you start going. So that's something that we take very seriously. And luckily, over the years, we've built a reputation. Our churn rate is very, very low. We keep employees for a long time because we build a culture around a team aspect. We're not commission based. None of that applies. And we focus on our employees being happy, very flexible with everything, all of their needs, because we know that when they're happy, they're going to be more productive, everybody's going to be more productive, and ultimately the customer is going to get a better experience when they come in. So we've had a lot of word of mouth. People will hear like, oh, Coast Tile's hiring, and then all of a sudden we'll get a rush of resumes and things like that. But then we also do actively look and seek opportunity, because we want to find the best talent out there in terms of the designing aspect or anything along those lines. So we reach out to people and occasionally be like, hey, like, who's out there, who's available? And in the construction industry, people are in and out of shops every day. So word travels quick. So we like to capitalize on any opportunity that we see out there.
Well, and the other thing that's fascinating is that family, employees are treated like family. And so often, and again, as we'll talk a little bit about public policy, but so often people don't understand that, it's not that they're trying to take advantage. Instead, people, once you're in the business, once you do a good job, you become part of the family. And there are all sorts of undocumented things that they do that benefit employees.
Absolutely.
And so I don't know if you want to talk about some of the things that you do with your employees and.
Yeah, I mean, we really focus on creating an environment where if you need to take off, I mean, as a family, my father and all the other owners, they would kick off early to go see one of my games, or a soccer game, or a football game, or baseball, or anything like that. So it's encouraged. It's not necessarily, oh yeah, you can go, but please go. Go check it, go be there and see those experiences, to have the same kind of an opportunity that an owner might have in terms of being able to take time off or come in a little later if something's happening or anything like that. To never create an environment where that would ever be an issue has been one way that we've really dealt with making them feel more like a family. And then honestly, we hang out outside of the work hours. Oftentimes we're having a barbecue or something. Everyone's invited. So we're all coming out, we're throwing cornhole, everyone's having a good time. And that creates an environment where you don't feel like you're just work colleagues, you're friends, and eventually you feel like you're family.
And that's good business. See, and that's what people don't understand, is that you do that because you're a family and you do it, it's the right thing to do, but they become more loyal. Employees become more, and that's what gets me, is that some of these policies that coming from the federal and state and local governments, treat it as if you don't care about employees. But in fact, you care more about employees than you actually treat them better than state employees in a lot of instances. Yet they're putting these burdens on folks, which makes no sense. And so it's all about actually helping you become more successful. That's good for New Jersey. That's good for jobs.
Absolutely.
And we've got to begin to think about, how do we help these family businesses and small businesses become that much more successful? One of the things that I hope you'll join, we've actually started a small business poll in New Jersey, which is free, and so every 3 months we're surveying small businesses so we can give them a voice to begin to talk. Because one of the challenges we find is that on a lot of these policies there'll be groups yelling and screaming over here, and they'll have crickets from the family businesses because you're out trying to survive. You don't have time to be lobbyists in Trenton because your margins are so slim. The other thing that's really important, and as opposed to kind of the online retail, is that more dollars stay in the community. They give back in the community. Can you talk about some of the things you've done in community involvement and support?
We love to get involved with the local high schools. Obviously, me and my sister went to a different high school than my brother, and then my cousins went to a couple other high schools. So we're a little spread out. So we like to give back to all the South Jersey high schools. We do a lot of work with like Egg Harbor Township High School, Cedar Creek, Absegami, Mainland, all the local high schools, donating back to their programs, like their Project Proms, all their different initiatives that they're taking on. And ironically, we've also been able to donate back to a couple of different art programs.
Oh, really? Well, let's talk about, I think we're going to have to take a commercial break, but I want to pick that up right from there and hear more about how you're giving back.
Great.
Yeah.
Every great company has a mission, and at Mrs. G, ours is to sell products and services that make life better. When you visit us, you'll experience a showroom filled with brands you know and love. Our products help you cook better, clean better, wash better, and grill better. We currently have over 250 online reviews with an average of 4.6 out of 5 stars. So check out what your neighbors have to say about Mrs. G. After all, they're our neighbors too.
Welcome back to Family Business World. We're here with Kyle Eisele. We were just talking about how Coast Tile and Marble Supply is giving back to the community. We heard how you're working with with high schools. Now you talked about arts. What else are you giving back to? Yeah.
So, so oftentimes in our warehouse we'll have mosaics laying around that have been left over and whatnot, and it makes for a perfect opportunity to donate back to the local schools to use these mosaics to create some pretty incredible work. And conveniently, I actually got an email this morning right before I walked in here asking if we can donate some mosaics to the art. I think it's the Cape May County, it might even be the college there, for their art department.
Oh, wonderful.
So we do a lot with that. We love to give back and see if they can create something, and oftentimes what they create is really incredible.
Yeah, that's what a great, I never would have put the two and two together. Do you ever go into, I have a foundation, and we have a program called Classroom Press Conference where we get a number of business people to come into the school and they're interviewed like a press conference. Like, have you spoken before some of the schools and other things? Have you ever done that? Or?
We've done some minor things like that. Most of the times it would be like something that I was involved in at school, and I would have my father, one of my uncles, come in and speak.
Right.
I spoke one time at St. Joe's regarding entrepreneurship as well.
Okay.
So just some smaller things. It's definitely something that we want to get more involved in because, like I said, being Generation 3, there's so much that we've learned and grown over the years that we'd love to share and give back with that experience.
Well, I mean, I'm meeting a dynamic young guy like you and talking to you, and I'm thinking, being involved with the school boards, that so many young people need to meet you. They need to talk to you. They need to know that he's not that much older than me, and this is his story, and he's doing well, and he's having fun doing this, because I think we don't do that in schools. We don't teach enough about work ethic and about being productive citizens. Reading, writing, arithmetic is important, but it's about creating productive citizens. And so I love your involvement in school. So maybe we'll set something up in the South Jersey area to do that.
Yeah.
Public policy. Do you get involved with any of the public policies or anything? Talk a little bit about that.
I would say obviously we're very connected to the housing market, obviously, with our industry. So we're closely monitoring all those different things. And on a broader scale, there's been a couple of different initiatives that have actually been pretty significant. And as you know, very close to home, back when Hurricane Sandy came through, it was absolutely devastating. I mean, we were personally affected by it, just like many of thousands of other families. But luckily, some government programs like FEMA and all those, they were able to step up big at the time, and they gave back some serious insurance money that people were able to re-put into their homes to get them back to living in their homes, but also to increase the value of their homes. And after the 2008 housing market collapse, which hurt our entire industry significantly, that was the bump that we needed kind of to climb out of that hole. So during that time, it was very tough. It was a very difficult time, but with Hurricane Sandy, we were closely monitoring all the different policies that were put into place that really gave people the opportunity to start investing back into themselves and into the industry and eventually into us. Wonderful. So that was one of the things. And then a more recent scale, the Fed has been cutting back the rates. It's increased opportunities in the mortgage field, and people are starting to buy more homes again. It's a very strong housing market, and when that's happening, we're doing much better.
And everyone does better. Now for the audience, one of the things, and this is kind of the trouble that we hear about all the negative stuff. We don't hear as much about the positive stuff. So if you're a homeowner and you want work done on your home, because I'm hearing so much about these fake contractors, these folks who's promised the world, say, give me half up front and then disappear on them.
Right.
How does this consumer protect themselves against, some scams like that if they're bringing people to their house? Well, you have any advice for folks?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things that people never think to do, everyone is so quick to go to the internet, to Google. And I tell you, if someone's, savvy on the internet, you can advertise yourself in a way that you're not actually going to be behind the door.
Right.
It's surprisingly a lot easier.
It's kind of fake websites
Everything.
and stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, you just got to put out like an Instagram ad, and all of a sudden people are like, oh wow, this looks legit enough, and then you're out $5,000.
Interesting.
Go to the local shops. Go to Coast Tile. Go to the local retailers. Go to any of these guys and say, who do you recommend?
Right.
I mean, being in the business, in the industry for 60 years, we've met and we know guys that do incredible work. We know honest guys. We know guys that are going to be upfront and clear and transparent, and they're going to ultimately give you the best bang for your buck. And if you're going to be investing in your home, don't throw your money away. Spend the extra dollar to get it done right, because you're going to be seeing it. You're going to be living it every day.
Well, and that's the other message too, is that cutting corners will cost more in the long run.
Absolutely.
With every aspect, and even the online retailers, those that that promise the world and have everything, the quality is going down because nobody's really checking, and you send it back. But it really concerns me how many people were ripped off
Absolutely.
after the hurricane with folks who just disappeared on it.
Right.
And they're not getting their money back. And so why not go to a local family business and, as you said, walk in the store, talk to people.
Absolutely.
We're so focused on doing things quickly and not thinking about it that we almost deserve to get burned sometimes. And so when you do that, is there a kind of an alliance of groups like yours, that family businesses and small businesses that kind of give each other business and so on?
Oh, absolutely. None of us are really handing out Home Depot's cards.
Right.
But there is definitely in the local area. I mean, there's companies that are just like us that have been around for forever. They do excellent work. They have great customer service, and they're just good people.
Yep.
So if you come in and you're asking for a specific service that obviously I don't offer, I'm going to give you their card because I know you're going to get the best experience from them anyway.
Right.
So ultimately, it's a win-win. I mean, they get the business, and the customer is going to be much happier going to them versus finding something online that's shady.
Yep. One of my questions is always, what keeps you up at night? What, as you look in the future and so on, what are some of the challenges that the business is facing?
Like most businesses and industries, there's a lot of competition out there, and every day the competition grows more and more. As you had mentioned, the internet has always been an issue in our industry. People are selling online. They don't have the overhead that we have, so they can sell it for cheap, and they can sell you a pretty bad product, and you'll probably never be able to get in touch with them.
Right.
So that's always been something. We're not necessarily trying to compete with the big box stores either. That's not really where we've ever specialized in. You're not going to walk in and see someone at Coast Tile who has no idea what they're talking about. You might go to a box store and get someone who barely knows about the product.
Right.
We don't want that. We're not even trying to portray that or compete with those stores. We want to give you the best experience with the most product knowledge and really get the most out of your opportunity to turn your house into a home. So we're trying to move into more of that service-based, experience-based market, but it's a scary thing. It's uncharted waters there. So we're excited, but it keeps me up a little bit sometimes thinking about what's going to happen if we do this. I mean, you take a shot in the dark, you got to hope that you hit it.
Yeah, no, it's great, and what you're doing and the way you go about business. Do you do much strategic planning as a family business to really think about the next 3 months, 6 months, 2 years?
Absolutely. That's one of the things that we've been implementing in this past year is really, in the very beginning, right when I came out of college there, we ran an entire strategic analysis, internal, external audit, SWOT analysis, everything to see where we really stood in the market.
Wonderful.
And where we needed to position ourselves to go forward. What steps needed to be taken, action plans, document. And my uncles, they've been giving me a hard time, like, oh, you're keeping me late again tonight. I'm like, yeah, well, we're getting after it. So we do a lot of strategic planning. There's so many opportunities out there that if you just went out and you started it and you tried and you went for it and you go for it, and you'll see that you oftentimes will be surprised with how successful you can be by just going for it.
Well, and again, you're a unique animal in that not only a college degree, but a college degree in family business management. You've done consulting. So I have 16 students in my class for this family business management. Is there a benefit in taking that class even if you aren't from a family business? If you're a student,
absolutely.
What are some of the benefits of just going to that kind of class?
There's countless benefits, and it's a shame that there's only 16. It was the same at St. Joe's. It's a very small group of people, and it needs to be bigger because, and what I always told my advisors and everything, the unique thing about taking family business, it's one of the only majors that teaches you how to be an owner and not an employee.
Right.
And that's a totally different mindset. And it's the work ethic, it's everything like that you'll learn from that. And as we were talking about earlier, roughly 95% of companies are family owned, whether it's a big corporation that's family owned or someone small like us that's family owned. Learning those dynamics of how people interact and the chain of command and how to properly, navigate those waters is an incredible opportunity for you to really understand what's happening out there in the world.
That's very well said. I love that. One of the few majors where you're learning to be an owner.
That's right.
Rather than an employee. Now, one of the other things too is a lot of family businesses. Now, you're more sophisticated than a lot. Don't do valuation. They really don't understand the value of the business. So many businesses, they want to sell and they sell, and the owner has to work 2 years because the only value of the business is the owner.
All right.
How do you do valuation, or what advice do you have for family businesses about valuing what they're really worth?
One of the things that was told to me early on was that you need to kind of position your company so that it's ready to sell tomorrow.
Right.
One of the best strategies is to have your company, your books lined up, everything lined up so that if you needed to sell, you could sell tomorrow.
Right.
So when it comes to valuation, get your ducks in a row, know what you're worth and what you want to be worth. It's a great opportunity for goal setting.
Right.
And then it's important to also get the valuation. I mean, have someone come in, tell you what your company is currently valued at.
How frequently should some company do that, do you think?
There's a lot of opinions out there. And it depends obviously on where you're at in your generational succession planning and all that. Obviously with my generation just coming on, we're roughly around a year in the succession, like taking valuations and that. So we stay on top of where we're at, where we're heading, growth-wise. If you're obviously more just starting out, you probably don't need to do evaluations as frequently. But yeah, we're right around the 1 year mark, checking out, making sure.
So one of the things, and again, I'm tapping into some of the knowledge you have that others, one of the other challenges is, so you're a parent, maybe you're first generation, second generation of family business. You have one daughter who works in the business. You have a son that doesn't work in the business. The son's having trouble, he's unemployed, and the urge oftentimes is to say, well, I'm going to give my son, because he's struggling, I'm going to give him more money, and the daughter's upset because I've been with the business the whole time.
Absolutely.
How do you deal with that? And this will be our last. Unfortunately, we could talk for an hour. But, But you've seen those, you've consulted. What is your advice in that kind of situation?
This is the favorite topic when you're talking about family business. How do you pay out the one who's not involved? And this is one that nobody ever agrees on either. And the problem is it is your son. So you're not going to leave him to hang out to dry. But you do, as an owner, and what we learned is that you need to be fair, because if you're unfair, your star employee, your daughter who was in the business, she's not going to want to do as what she was doing before. She might not work as many hours or do the things that she did. So you can't undercut yourself by being so charitable to one person. So being fair is the most important part. And we see it every day. I mean, my grandfather believes that everybody should be involved in the business, whether they're working or not. And that's one of the values that he had. And if that's the value that he had, then we're all on board with it, So you got to be, everyone's got to be on the same page regarding it, but you do need to be fair.
Perfect. Kyle, well, thank you very much. This has been a great show.
Wonderful time.
And
thank you
good
very
luck,
much.
and I look forward to visiting your place.
Absolutely.
So take care. See you next week on Family Business World.